Welcome to Dominique Roy and Michelle Heisler's YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk to you about self-efficacy,
a social cognitive theory.
Born in 1925, Canadian psychologist Albert Bandura developed the theory of self-efficacy. He earned his PhD from the University of Iowa in 1952. It was there that he came under the influence of the behaviorist tradition and learning theory.
Behaviorist theory deals more with behavior than with thinking, feeling, or knowing. Bandura found that behaviorist theory did not encompass his findings, that behavior also influences environment. Bandura referred to this phenomenon as reciprocal determinism.
What's reciprocal determinism?
That the world and a person's behavior influence each other. This finding falls within the realm of social cognitive theory, of which Bandura is the father.
Bandura defines self-efficacy as an individual's belief that he or she will be able to accomplish a specific task. He believed that an essential component to accomplishing a task is the belief that we will be successful.
Believe in yourself.
You can do it.
Bandura describes self-efficacy as the mind's self-regulatory function telling us when to try and when to stop. If you think you can accomplish something, the more likely you are to try it and succeed. Conversely, if you don't believe accomplishing a task is possible, you are less likely to attempt it and more likely to give up early if you do.
Important to note, self-efficacy and self-esteem are different concepts, but related. Self-efficacy relates to a person's perception of their ability to reach a goal, whereas self-esteem relates to a person's sense of self-worth.
How does self-efficacy develop?
Our development of self-efficacy begins in early childhood as we are continuously presented with new tasks, situations, and various experiences. How we fare in these experiences correlates directly with our sense of self-efficacy.
Self-efficacy drives motivation. But the growth of one's self-efficacy does not end in childhood. It is a constantly evolving process that continues throughout one's lifetime. According to social cognitive theorists, there are several factors in the development of self-efficacy.
So what factors influence self-efficacy?
Well, first we have performance accomplishments. Bandura explains that the most effective way of developing a strong sense of efficacy is through mastery experiences.
So what does that mean?
Performing a task successfully strengthens our sense of self-efficacy. Failing to adequately deal with a task or challenge can undermine and weaken levels of self-efficacy.
Students' perception of self-efficacy corresponds directly to successes and failures in their past experiences. So if a student has shown a facility with math at the beginning of the year, they are more likely to attempt and succeed in math throughout the term.
Second, we have verbal persuasion. Bandura also asserts that people could be persuaded to believe that they have the skills and capabilities to succeed. Receiving verbal encouragement from others helps students overcome self-doubt.
Third is peer model, or vicarious experiences. Witnessing the success of others is another important source of self-efficacy. When students see others of similar ability achieving a goal, they tend to believe they are capable as well. According to Schunk and Hansen, peer modeling positively impacts students' sense of self-efficacy more profoundly than teacher modeling.
Fourth, we have physiological factors, or arousal. Moods, emotional states, physical reactions, and stress levels can all impact how a person feels about their personal abilities in a particular situation. However, Bandura notes it is not the sheer intensity of emotion and physical reactions that is important, but rather how they are perceived and interpreted. By learning how to minimize stress and elevate moods when facing difficult or challenging tasks, students can build their sense of self-efficacy.
So, fight or flight response. If you look at the physiological response of students right before an oral presentation, the brain releases extra dopamine as a reaction to the emotions of anxiety and stress, which is the primitive response of fight or flight. Some people react differently to the rise in hormones. Someone that is more comfortable with raised levels of dopamine will, for example, during an oral presentation perform well, showing minimal signs of nervousness despite feelings of anxiety. For example, Sarah is nervous about her oral presentation this morning. Her knees feel weak, her voice trembles slightly. So to ease her sense of nervousness, her teacher suggests that one of the more confident students lead off the presentation. Seeing her friend succeed, Sarah is able to approach her performance with more confidence despite inner angst. In this instance, the teacher helped to bolster Sarah's level of self-efficacy by providing her with a peer model. If she can do it, so can I.
In comparison, a student's reaction to a rise in dopamine can manifest in stuttering, unclear speech, fidgeting, or avoidance of the task. For example, Brian was extremely anxious about his oral presentation. Prior to the speech, he felt nauseous. As his turn approached, he began to sweat profusely. Despite watching his peers perform before his turn, the voice inside his head said, "I can't do this. I'm going to humiliate myself." Seeing Brian's heightened level of anxiety, his teacher pulls him aside and encourages him to try, demonstrating verbal persuasion. Seeing no change in his confidence, she presents him with an option to give the speech in private.
External feedback and performance accomplishments influence students' perception of their arousal state. Arousal states are neither negative nor positive, but how the student deals with the physiological response impacts their level of self-efficacy. Despite a heightened state of physiological arousal, if a student is given positive encouragement and/or feedback, the more likely they are to attempt and succeed at their assigned tasks.
Fifth, we have collective self-efficacy. Ormrod et al. Introduce a new concept called collective self-efficacy. Studies show heightened levels of self-efficacy when students work in a group that functions cohesively and efficiently. Teacher self-efficacy has been found to be related to positive teacher behavior and strong student achievement. Students learn more from teachers who have high levels of self-efficacy. Highly self-efficacious teachers are more likely to use open-ended questions, inquiry methods, or small group activities. They are more likely to adopt innovations, less likely to experience burnout, and exhibit sustained enthusiasm for teaching.
Teachers' levels of self-efficacy increases with the success of their students.
So, how do we improve students' sense of self-efficacy?
Well, we can provide students with challenging tasks.
Research shows that students develop a sense of self-efficacy towards learning when teachers engage them in complex and meaningful tasks that extend over long periods of time.
We can also use peer models.
Students can learn by watching a peer succeed at a task.
Teach specific learning strategies.
Give students a concrete plan of attack for working on assignments.
Capitalize on students' interests.
Tie the course material or concepts to students' interests such as sports, pop culture, movies, or technology. If a student is interested in the course content, the more likely they are to be engaged in the class.
Allow students to make their own choices.
Allow students to make their own decisions, such as flexible grading, assignment options, or self-determined due dates. Providing students with options empowers them, giving them a sense of control over their learning.
Give frequent and focused feedback.
Giving praise and encouragement is very important. However, feedback must be credible and applicable. When giving feedback on student performance, compare to past performances by the same student. Don't make comparisons between students.
Encourage students to try. Believe in yourself and you will become unstoppable.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. Henry Ford.
Thanks for listening!